trapped. Nigel Farage livid UK will leave totally unreasonable EU in legal terms only. When the results of the EU referendum were announced in June last year, Mr. Farage triumphantly declared that it was the UK's Independence Day. But he now admits he does not think the UK will escape the clutches of Brussels and does not think the UK should offer more money for the divorce bill. He said, "Leaving this union is not worth £40 billion. Wrapping it up in transition, on top of the £40 billion, and denying us the ability to sign up to the rest of the world is the worst of all places to be, even if we left the European Union in name only. It comes to a point where, actually, it would be better to say, I'll tell you what guys, you have been totally unreasonable. You know, just tell them, sling your hook, unless you're prepared to have a grown-up conversation with us." The MEP and former UKIP leader has long advocated the UK's cessation from the EU and has become infamous for his frequent skirmishes in the European Parliament. Asked if he was sure the UK would leave the bloc, he said, "In legal terms, yes. But, the former UKIP leader is not convinced the nation will break free from the clutches of Brussels by leaving the single market and all of the facets attached to membership." Mr. Farage told The Telegraph, "I think we're going to be stuck inside the customs union and the single market, the European Court of Justice, unlimited immigration. Oh, we haven't used that word, have we?" With a mocking tone, he added, "Oh, terrible. We shouldn't use that word, how awful. And yet it really matters to people, you know. It really matters to public services, and I fear that we go into in the middle of 2019 still wrapped up in all of those things. I very much hope that I'm wrong, but I feel like that's where we are going to be." It comes as Theresa May denied she would agree to a Brexit divorce settlement before Brexit Secretary David Davis reached an agreement on future trade relations between the UK and the bloc. Mrs. May said, "No, we are still in negotiations with the European Union. As the EU themselves have said, nothing is agreed until everything is agreed." The PM is scheduled to meet with the EU boss Jean-Claude Juncker next week ahead of the last EU summit of 2017. She continued, "We are working hard with the EU to ensure that we can move together, but what I am clear about is that we need to move together. We are working hard to ensure that we get the movement onto the trade talks. That I think is not just our interests, but the interests of the rest of the EU. It is believed unlikely that either Britain or Brussels will ever present a precise figure on the financial settlement, which would include liabilities for EU-promoted schemes the UK signed up to as an EU member. Payments would be made over many years as liabilities fall due, so the final total may not be known for decades. The European Union has refused to progress onto trade talks until there is noticeable progress on issues such as the divorce bill, the Irish border and citizens' rights. A deal on the Brexit divorce bill would mean that Britain is one step closer to gaining approval from EU leaders at the December summit for talks to move to the second stage. Once EU officials believe there is significant progress on key Brexit issues, talks will be able to move on to trade negotiations. But the major obstacle for negotiations will now likely be the Irish border issue, with Irish Prime Minister Leo Varadkar threatening to block the progress of talks if he is not told in writing there will no hard border. However, sources in Dublin said there is movement on the issue and a growing confidence that a deal can be reached before the next summit on December 14 to 15. This could open up trade talks, and EU leaders are now preparing to offer a 2-year Brexit transition deal as early as January after negotiators said they were close to a breakthrough. A senior EU negotiator said, "After sufficient progress on withdrawal we will open the next 2 phases of negotiations, first of all on a transition period and then on the future partnership. A transition deal will be ready in principle for January." Brexiteers fear this could be a method of achieving a soft Brexit via an underhanded means. Nigel Farage said, "This is not what we voted for. We voted to leave, not transitional arrangements.